Yeah, it's good. Dude, this is crazy.
I know.
This
It's kind of trippy, huh?
is my
I
first
know.
legit podcast. It's like
Yeah.
Lights, camera, and action.
action.
You kind of feel legit. You're
Yeah,
like,
dude.
"Mm, mm, mm."
Especially this chair setting like this.
Podcast.
Yeah. I know you like sitting back,
Feel
kicking,
like the boss.
kicking back, being boo.
Hell yeah. But yeah, let's get right into it. Welcome back. Welcome back to Beyond the Build. And we have the pleasure of meeting with the one and only Ezra Seui, owner of Perfect Breeze.
Woo, 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 woo.
Yeah.
Thank
Let's
you
get
guys
it.
for having me.
Yeah, my
It's a
boy's
pleasure.
first time on a podcast.
First
The
time.
nerves, like what
It's
the
like-
the big lights, you know?
This is legit.
Oh, yeah. It's legit.
Dude, this is crazy.
Seriously
it's
though,
cool.
thank you for coming, man. We're just our kind of goal right now and who we're having on the podcast right now is just to see, or the people is who helped us, really build out our projects, and you've worked with us in the past, and our whole thing behind this is it's not just about the buildings we build or the homes we remodel or whatever it is that we do on the physical side of the construction, but going beyond that, who's behind everything, right? That's what brings the purpose. And so for all the HVAC stuff, Ezra owns Perfect Breeze, and we'll get into what you do, but that's kind of just an idea, of what our purpose is of this podcast, you know. So today, it's all about you, bro. It's all about you.
Never had the spotlight before, so
Yeah.
here we go.
Well, you got a big
Get
one.
used to it.
You
You,
got a
better
big-
get used to it.
You got a 14 by 8 spotlight there, brother.
Damn. Hey, this is all new to me, so
Yeah, that's awesome. Ezra bought the truck, got his freaking bad truck in the
Hey,
back.
perfect
Oh yeah,
breeze.
That's a
perfect
big
Let's
old
go.
breeze. And the funny thing too is that Ezra has the same last name as us.
I don't know. I think we're cousins, but
Oh,
we just don't know
100%.
the
Oh, for
family
sure.
line.
And
What, the first time I met him, I said, that guy looks like you, babe.
Really?
Like, look like you enough to be related.
Yeah.
Like, I don't say you look like brothers, but
Yeah.
like cousins or
Cousins,
something. I'm
right.
like, for sure. For
Nah,
sure.
straight up.
I mean, Seui is a big last name in American Samoa, Nuli.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so it's like, yeah, we family. When I first saw your name, I think TikTok, when I reached out to
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
I was like, this guy's family. I got to reach out.
Heck yeah.
I remember when we saw your truck on the
Yeah.
freeway a few times, Dev's like, that guy's a Seui. I was like, what? Really?
Is that before we met or?
Yeah, that was
yeah,
before we met.
that's just seeing your
Yeah.
truck. He's like, I just seen that guy on social media. He's a Seui. And
Yeah.
I was like, dang, we got to connect with him.
No, I'm glad that I saw your TikTok pop up on my feed. I was like, dude, this is cool seeing a Seui.
Yes,
It's,
sir.
for me, at least growing up in Utah, it's I've never known any other Seui
Dang.
besides my family. And then I started running into some of them in Provo,
Yeah.
and they said they were from Hawaii.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I met you. You were like
That's
the
us.
second Seui I met. I was like,
yeah.
hey. And then when I saw you on TikTok, I was like, I gotta reach out to him.
Yeah.
We gotta
well,
meet up.
Well, you meet this side of Seui's. Shoot, our family crazy on this side, bro.
Hey, I'll be happy to.
Yeah. Dang. No, but so you own Perfect Breeze. I mean, we're gonna jump right into
Hey, let's go.
the deep end. We're gonna jump right into it. And I just wanted to know, like, how long ago, bro, did you start your company?
I started. Well, we established the company in 2022.
Oh, okay.
And
So 4
then-
years ago? 4 or
yeah.
5 years ago?
Yeah, and then I was still working my full-time job then
Oh,
for about
nice.
a year, and then I went full-time in 2023, towards the end of 2023. That's when I jumped in full-time.
Oh, okay. So, and then, but have you ever done any business before that, or that was like like Perfect Breeze was your first?
It's the first
Yeah.
for me, and it was all new to me. So yeah, the
Dang.
first.
Okay.
And what were you doing before? What was your job before this?
I was doing HVAC.
Okay, nice.
And that was the whole goal when I got into HVAC. It was to start a business,
Yeah.
and
Got it.
yeah, I went in it with a whole goal in mind of just, starting a business once I get it down.
Yeah. No, and that's freaking awesome. And tell us more about that. So 4 years ago, so let's say 5 years ago, who would I be talking to if you were the version of yourself 5 years ago? What did that Ezra do? What was he up to? Working for an HVAC company, but what was it about all that stuff that made you want to start your own thing?
I think if you would have met me before the HVAC, you would have met a kid that was just drifting pretty much through life, just letting life pull me wherever it pulls me,
Yeah.
letting life happen to me instead of me taking it by the horn and take it. You
Yeah.
know, it just, I think that's what you would have met if you would have met me before HVAC. Because once I got into HVAC, I came in it with a whole different point of view and a mindset.
Got it.
And so, yeah.
Dang. So where are you from? Where did you grow up?
Originally from American Samoa, Nauli. I was born and raised there. Uh, we moved out of American Samoa when I was about 10 years old.
Oh yeah.
We moved straight to California. We lived there for a couple years and then moved to Utah.
Dang. I'm trying to go back to Samoa. I've never been to Samoa.
Man,
Both my parents from Samoa, but they moved to Hawaii, and that's where I was born. But
you've never been to Samoa?
no, bro.
Bro,
I
you
need
need-
to.
You need to go.
I need to, bro.
Oh, we're
that's what I'm
going.
saying.
What do
If
you guys
anything, we're
going?
going for the food.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's why I was saying I'm like the whitest Samoan, bro. I gotta get rooted, bro. I gotta get jumped in, bro.
bro, you need to go, dude.
Yeah.
It's the island.
What's life
That's
like
home.
over there in Samoa?
Hey,
Small island.
Small island, slow pace. You know, it's whatever's there. It's go on
Yeah.
island time,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and so yeah, dude, it's just so much slower than it is here.
Yeah. But I mean, just the culture though, is very different from, over here, the States and stuff, I'm sure, and gosh, I bet obviously just, me knowing our culture, but still kind of in America, I guess, but to really fully, feel the full impact of the culture, I haven't yet, and if I went to, Samoa or something like that,
Yeah.
Hawaii, very strong,
Yeah,
very strong still too, and but to go back to the roots too, though, I'm sure I mean, how is just the community over there though?
man, it's different. It's so different there because where I'm like both sides of where my dad is from and where my mom is from, like your village is your family.
Yeah,
And so where you grow up, like here, you can grow up in a neighborhood and not know your neighbor.
yeah, true.
And so it's like there, you grow up, you know everyone of your neighbor there. It's your family, your cousins. And so you grow up together, you eat, together, you have dinner together. And so you go to church together, school. And so everyone around it, it's not like an organized neighborhood. Everyone could be spread out, but you know everyone there is family. And so,
Dang,
I love that.
yeah.
right?
Yeah, that's just something I see there. It's just you can literally walk out and you can have your cousin back here, another cousin right in front of here. The house is just there's no one way to do it. You just build your house, you live there. You need something, come on over. And so, yeah.
That's what we need. That's what we need, huh?
So true. We need so much more of that. I honestly feel like that is what shapes the foundation of even like kids, adults, whatever, but having that support system beyond just your own family unit, your neighbors, your community. So when you do make decisions in your life or move on or, make a change, like, you got those people to rely on,
Oh,
like
yeah.
I love that. And I wish we had more of that because truthfully, even now, like where we live, it's like, I don't know all of our neighbors, it's
Yeah.
hard too. Cause
Oh yeah.
I feel like when it's not the standard, it's hard to implement too,
Yeah.
like it's not the norm. So people are like, oh, dang, like, hey, you got some milk? Okay, let me go give you some milk. But it's not like, oh, I know your kids and your kids and your kids, and all our kids hanging together.
Yeah.
Like, I love that. Love that. So
Well,
we
and
need
that
more
tight
of that.
relationship too, that's really where the community, aspect of things. Now, obviously in Samoa, like it's straight family,
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
but a lot of people like want that, and
Mhm.
even in the industry that we work in, there's a lot of people that are big families that are buying homes. They're looking for that, to be in a safe place where their kids can go outside and play and really get like how it was, when we grew up, like bikes in the front yard
Oh,
type,
yeah.
Mhm.
and
Good old
kids,
days.
yeah, rollerblading in the street and stuff, and everybody was safe. Like all the neighbors looked out for each other, and I mean that's how Hawaii was too. Like all the neighbors, we all knew each other. Like if we was grilling, we bought a plate to all the neighbors if they didn't come over, but like everybody was invited no matter what we was doing. That's just the way it was,
Oh yeah.
you know.
No, I think that's just feel like just the way we all grew up as Polynesians. Is like, yeah, even though we're not blood family, but if you're right there, we see you.
Yeah.
Come on over, we family, and so that's just part of the nature of a Polynesian Samoans.
Yeah.
Like we give whoever you are. We don't know who you are. Like we just give, and that's what I love about our culture is we don't judge people by just looking at them. We don't sit there and say we just if we have something to give, we'll give them.
Yeah.
And so,
Oh, 100. Do you come from a big family like you and your siblings? And
oh yeah, dude. Like,
yeah, how many siblings you got?
sometimes I have to really think about that one. But it's I got 8 brothers and then 4 sisters.
Wow, big
So,
family.
yeah,
Dang.
it's crazy because we grew up like that. But the crazy thing too is like I've had 6 brothers work with me
Oh yeah.
before the business. Like
Yeah.
I've had them come out and work with me, and it was just crazy. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
And where
Yeah.
are you in that? So 8 brothers, 4 sisters. What's that? 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, I got to do my math.
I got 3 of my sisters are younger, and then 1 brother,
Oh,
and then the rest
is all.
above me.
Oh.
Yeah,
Got it.
wherever that lands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
You're number 5. I think there's 4 above you.
So yeah, 3.
holy hell, we
Yeah.
can't do math.
Yeah.
Yeah, number
4,
5.
yeah,
Yeah.
5. She can do math. I can't do math.
Yeah,
I got to pull out my fingers.
The
start-
same here. I'm like,
Oh.
gotta
Once I
hide my
start-
fingers and count.
Once I start counting my toes,
Carry
it's
the
bad.
one.
Dang, so
Yeah.
you're right in the middle then.
Yeah,
How's it being the middle child?
I don't know. It hasn't been crazy. Like
Yeah.
honestly, it's just for me. It was just living life with my siblings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just one. I'm usually closer to my. There's a brother that's above me, 1 year older than me, and then I have my younger brother that I'm closer to, and so. But yeah, mainly growing up, it was just me and my brother that's older than me, the one that's 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
We're
You were
always we
close?
go. Yeah, we were go to school. Well, yeah, we would go school together, hang
Everything.
out together, everything. But yeah,
And then when you guys moved to, you said you went from American Samoa to Utah?
yeah.
Did,
No,
or
California, then Utah.
Oh, California, then Utah.
Yeah.
Did your whole family move with you, or did
No.
some stay?
It was yeah. When we moved, or when my parents decided to move, they moved. So my mom and all my younger siblings came first, with 2 older ones, 1 older sister and then 1 older brother. So they moved to the U.S. first. They were in California for I think about a year,
Uh huh.
and that I was back at home in American Samoa with my 3 other brothers with my dad. At that time, he's working to save up to get us to America,
Yeah.
and then at the same time pull out a loan to
Yeah.
make up for the rest so that we
Right.
can come here. So
Right.
yeah, that's how it went. And then my mom came back, brought me and my brother that's a year older than I am to America, and then we were here for a year until she went, or then until my dad came over with my other brothers.
Your other brothers.
But
Like
that-
slowly and gradually, you guys all started to come over. And
yeah, it wasn't one whole-
California.
yeah.
Thing. And then at what point did you guys all come to Utah?
I think I think the decision is once I had a older sister that passed away in California, and from there it was hard, not having a lot of family there, and we had a lot of family here in Utah, and so
Got it.
in going through that, it's just I think my mom
Yeah.
made the decision to come here and be closer to family, and plus we're from a LDS background, so
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
yeah.
Sorry, can you move the mic? Maybe my headphone is just
Sorry,
not.
I think
No. Just probably move it towards me.
Yeah.
Just because when you talk towards this way. So
Is
yeah,
that better?
yeah, and then you can just talk
Yeah.
more into it. Probably just closer to your mouth like this. Yeah. so we
Getting
can
too
hear you.
close for comfort.
Yeah, right.
Right up in your face.
Right up in your face. Oh, exactly.
Uh,
No, I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of the Polys too moved to Utah.
yeah.
There's a heavy influence, the Polynesian culture here in Utah.
Oh yeah. I think it's a lot about the family, and then I think a lot of the Polynesian is in the LDS, and so it's just I think that's why it brings a lot of them here.
Yeah. What age were you when you moved here to Utah?
I think about 12,
Oh
12 or
yeah. Also,
13.
you did
Yeah.
go to high school out here.
Yeah, yeah.
Where'd you go?
So, well, when we moved to Utah, we moved straight to West Valley.
Oh, cool.
So we were there until my freshman year of high
Yeah.
school. So I went to Hunter for part of my freshman year, and then my parents decided to move us out of West Valley because
Yeah.
there was just so much going on in West Valley.
Yeah.
And at that time, yeah, I had a brother, which it's a cousin that we call brother. We grew up together.
Yep.
Passed away in West Valley with all the gang violence and stuff. And so my parents moved us out to a small town down south called Delta.
Delta.
It's in the middle,
Mhm.
in the
That
middle of
old
nowhere.
Delta. Yeah, I know what
Yeah.
Delta is.
Oh, you been there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. For what?
No, just driving by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's small. It's like when I first moved there, I was like, "What we doing here?"
Yeah.
But nah, at the end of it, it's like I love it. It's a small town. It reminds me of the island. Everyone's close
Right.
and everyone knows each other, and so
Yeah.
it was good.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of moving.
Yeah.
it
Oh
seemed
yeah.
like for you, and you feel like that played a role into kind of what you do now and kind of motives, or
Um.
like did that? I guess. I mean, because for example, like me, like we moved around a lot too, because we just didn't
Yeah.
have a place to stay. But I feel like that, right there, just the motive behind for me of just kind of wanting to get established
Yeah.
came from always moving because we didn't have a place to stay, And
Yeah.
so I don't know if that's the same way with you, but
I think looking back to it, it's more of like a big lesson for me that I learned, and the reasons why I'm moving to certain places. But the lesson for me that I learned from moving a lot is like, and well, the reason first off, knowing the reason why we move so much is just for coming to America is giving us the opportunity.
yeah,
Giving my parents wanting us to have more opportunities, and then making moves around, the states is, part of it. Going to a small town was just the violence in West Valley,
yeah,
and the lesson I learned with that is like, well, the purpose was like get us away from the violence to a small town where there's no violence and not much going on. But with that, it's like looking back to me and my brother, it's like it doesn't matter where you go. If you look for violence, you look for the bad, you'll find it.
right,
And that's something big for me. It's like looking at my life is like why we moved around so much, and I looked at that part of it. It's like, yeah, your environment, it does affect you in a way, but if you go constantly looking for something, you'll find it.
right.
And so, but yeah,
Good and bad to that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, good and bad. But
Yeah.
it,
If you look
just
for the good, you find the good too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and that's where I look at. Just comparing it to me and my brother, like we were best friends growing up, but we were total opposite.
Opposite.
Me as a kid growing up, I was like very quiet and shy.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was the loud one, so I was always in his shadow and just following him around and doing what he wants to do.
Yeah.
But he would always find something to do and trouble, and so for me, it's like when he finds it, I walk away from it.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have to stay there because he's my brother.
Right.
Yeah.
So I got to roll with him and do, help him out. But sometimes I got to make my own decisions and just like, no, I don't want this. And so,
Yeah.
and that's the path that took us, different directions.
That is deep right there. Like that, I talk to Annie all the time about just like how do you deal with you trying to establish what you've established, but again, like you said, you have to make your own decisions, right?
Yeah.
Your own choices. But then if you have now a close family member, your brother, or whoever it is that means a lot to you, and they make these other decisions that doesn't fit what you're trying to build, how do you deal with moving forward, trying to stay on the path that you're trying to go and achieve what you're trying to achieve, but at the same time you have this guilt or this thought in the back of your head of, well, how can I keep moving forward if my brother's over here struggling? Like, do you ever think about stuff like that? Or like, just like you said, like, yeah, some decisions I'm like, yeah, that's not me. But then some I have to stay because of my brother. That's my brother, you know?
Yeah. I think it just, for me at least, is, yeah, I had a fight with that a lot growing up with him. It's just, he's my brother. I love my brother.
Yeah.
Even though don't feel like doing what he was doing, but I'm going to follow him because if he needs me, I'm there. And so it's like, there's a point that came to where I realized that I can still love my brother, but not be there for him because what I'm going for in life doesn't align with what he's doing. So if I continue to go after him and it doesn't align with my, you know, with what I want to do in life and where I want to take my life, then all I'm doing is, hurting myself and then hurting him at the same time
Yeah.
by allowing him to, influence me do what he's doing. And
Yeah.
so it's just the decision of understanding that, you can still love someone, but still follow what you need to do and do what you need to do. So, yeah.
I love that, bro. Dang. That's some tough decisions. And I think that's a big problem in, gosh, it's hard to even say problem, but like in our culture,
Yeah.
we are very heavily family oriented. Like, again, I always say, like, our ancestors, bro, like, they ready to die,
Oh, yeah.
like that warrior. We don't just say warrior because we're Polynesian. No, our ancestors were warriors,
Yeah.
and it was just, I just always think about like them going to, battles back in the day and like straight up to death, and the family oriented kind of mentality, and it was legit. And so I think that blood really runs through all of us, and we still hold true to that, that it's, hey, my brother's on the line, my brother's in the trenches, like I'm next to him,
Yeah.
you know. But then when I say problem, it's, gosh, again, it's that word. It's how do we change things? You
Mm.
know, how do we do things different now? To help. Really, it's not going away from the culture; it's to elevate the culture because we're more than that. We're more than just. And I always say that our culture is so prideful, but there's pros and cons to that. That's a blessing and a curse because if we take pride in the wrong things, if we take pride in colors of,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm blue over here and my uso over there is red, and we family and we don't like each other, that don't make sense. We're just now hating each other because of gangs or something.
Yeah.
But if we take that same pride, and you know it, bro, like the village, bro, whatever the village does, bro, it's pride in that
Oh, yeah.
village. Like, to the motherfucking world, dog.
Straight up. So,
Noli to the world, right?
oh, yeah.
685 to the world, or Tonga to the world, tease up. Like, the pride though is
Yeah.
like everything, right? Now, if we took pride, that same level intensity into the right things, shit, bro,
Yeah,
unstoppable.
and that's the problem though. It's like we don't. A lot of our people don't even see that in ourselves. It's like that drive we have, but we don't use it to
Yeah,
benefit. We
and
use it
and
for the
that's
wrong
where
reasons,
right,
and
and that's
so
Well,
where I
the
was
truth,
saying, yeah, go ahead.
no, the truth is I think the reason why there's not, you can't see it in themselves is because there's not a lot of examples. You know what I mean? There's
exactly.
not a lot of people for them to look to and say, oh my gosh, he did that or
Mm-hmm.
she did that. And so I feel like I could do that too. You see all these people, but they don't look like me. They're not part of the same culture as me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like they don't come from the same background as me. So how can I overcome all of these things to get to that level, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I was going to say too. Like, yes, you have those people who are kind of doing the same thing, right? History repeating itself, the same kind of toxic traits that every family, every culture has little bits of those, right? But
Yeah.
that can really hold you back for generations. It's when you acknowledge that and you say, no, I want better and I'm going to push. Now, that doesn't mean I don't love my family. That doesn't mean I don't love my culture, right? But that means I want to elevate it, just like you said. Like, I want a higher standard of life, right? For my kids, so that when your kids see, dang, my dad did that, so I know I can do that too. It's not just this person can do that person does that. It's like, no, like us, like taking pride in who we are. If even that's your superpower, like being Polynesian, having that community, having that support, like digging into that and being like, no, I have this pride. I'm putting it towards this business or whatever it is that you want to do, right? Um, I just think that's such an example that can be set for the future that like we need, even just in Utah. Like, how many Polynesian business owners do you see, like, and like owners, right? Not just like laborers, not just doing side gigs under the table, like fully operating a business. And that's everything to you now for yourself, yourself as a kid, you're showing up for you, right? But also you're setting a standard for future generations to come, right? Like, I love just being a witness of that, right? Like, I'm part of the culture through my husband, right? But I didn't. There's so many things that I've learned, right? And I respect and I love that my kids get to be part of it. But that I also have seen from my husband, from the people we work with, right? Like, there's a lot of hardships that that come with it that you have to kind of like go beyond to achieve what you want to achieve. Um, so yeah, I just think that's so awesome that, like you said, you still love your family, you're still doing everything that you can, even if they're not doing exactly what you're doing. But it's like, dang, I know what it takes, and I gotta push, right?
Yeah.
Extra hard, extra hard. So
It's
So,
so true.
no, just hitting back on that, where you know the problem with our Polynesian culture is, even though we see what's wrong and we still do it, and that's still
Yeah.
it's like
Oh, you did that wrong? I'm gonna
history
go do
repeats
it
itself.
again. Yeah.
exactly. And then, like, always look at it as to, I'm gonna compare it to my family, right? It's, some of it is, a lot of it is the Fatsamo, like, I'm sure you've heard it. I'm
Yep.
sure sometimes you experience it where you have family back in the island and they call for money, right? They're always gonna call for money, and that's all they do. And so it's like, they know you're struggling too, and they
Yeah.
still call for money. And that's the problem where there is, like, you know, in this and in America, we know we're struggling, but we still send that money. We know that that money may not go to where it's supposed to go to, but we still send it because we love our family.
Yeah.
And that's the problem where I at least see where it's hard for us to have that hard conversation
Yeah.
of telling your parents or families, like, no, I can't do this anymore. And that's the same thing I had to do with my brother, having to follow him around growing up. I had to come to that realization, like, I can't do this anymore. And it's the same thing having to happen with my parents. They're back in the island now. And, starting a business ain't easy.
Right.
And, at the same time, having a family, my wife, my kids, that is depending on me. And then at the same time, you have employees that's depending on the company to provide for them. And so when your family's calling you for money and asking for help, your heart goes out to them
Right.
because, it's your family. It's my mom and dad. I want to help them
Yeah.
at any cost. But there's time, same thing, realization where it's like, yeah, I was doing it. I had to talk to, there's so many conversations I had with my wife. It's like, hey, can we help my mom and dad? It's hard. We had to really work through that because she comes from a different background where she's not used to that. And then when
Yeah.
you marry a Polynesian that does that a lot, it was very hard for her to, really understand that why I do it, and having to work with me, in helping my mom and dad. And so, and it got to a point where I had to make the decision that it's either I send this money even though I know I need it, or keep it for my family to take care of my wife and kids, and so and that's the hard conversation part of that, learning part is just having that hard conversation with my mom and dad, because there's a lot of times where they've called and it got to a point where I had to say no. It was a hard no for me to say that to my mom and dad because I was so used to saying yes, 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 even though I know I was struggling. but I had to, make a decision. It's like it's either I build my family first
Yeah.
here, and then I can help them after. And it's super hard. There's a lot of people that can look at it. It's like, hey, you should always take care of mom and dad.
Right.
Yes, you should always too.
Right.
You should always take care of them. But there's just that fine line where you gotta look at it. It's like, if you're in a hard spot, you gotta now decide.
Right.
And so that's the hard conversation a lot of our, you know, people have a hard time doing.
Yeah.
It's just sitting down and talk about it
Yep.
instead of continuing to allow that, people to make your decision for you or influence you to do certain things. So
Yeah, and I think there's definitely like that line that like what does taking care of your family, your mom and dad mean, right? I think that means a lot of different things to a lot of different Polynesians,
yeah,
right? Some are saying, yeah, financially take care of them, or physically take care of them, or take care of them by taking care of yourself,
mm-hmm.
right? There's so many ways to take, and so I think the kind of where it gets, I don't know, tough is that they think it's the money, just money,
Yeah.
money,
Oh
money,
yeah,
money, money. But then, as you know, the more money you make, it ain't solving no damn thing.
nah,
It's just causing a lot of more of the things you got to pay for. And sure, it gets a little bit more, freedom there, but you still got to make all that money. People think you run a business and they think you make all this money, but they don't know how much it costs to run that business. Right.
sure.
And then you look at how much you made, how much it costs, you put those together, what the difference is. It's like, well, I didn't make anything,
Sure.
And so
that's,
they're like, oh, can we have some money? I'm like,
that's the thing they don't
I'm
understand.
trying to get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
My pockets are empty. Yeah, but anyway, to my point is like, to give money back to, mom and dad. I mean, shoot, how many conversations, my wife and I have had the same thing, bro. She don't come from that,
yeah,
right? She come from like, yo, my parents take care of themselves. My siblings take care of themselves,
yeah,
you know? And I'm over here like, oh, damn, we trying to get there,
yeah,
But it's so true, the cultures collide in that way. And, you had to work through that. And that's definitely something that's very relatable on our end,
Yeah.
with what you were going through. And, but to the point of, I tell my mom all the time, like, Mom, let me establish this first and I'm going to take care of you.
mm-hmm.
I'm taking care of you and my family by taking care of me and my family, right? Because my mom raised me to be a good person to society and to be number one, a good husband and a good father to my kids. That's what my mom raised me to do.
Yeah,
That's what I'm doing, right? I'm making her proud by doing those things, right? It ain't the money, sending back the money back and forth, right? She's so proud of me just because of the man that I am today. That's how I take care of my mom. Everything that I do now to society, when people go and tell her, like, oh, congrats, like, I seen that your son did this, or like, oh, that's so awesome that your son is like that. To me personally, that's how I take care of my mom, right? Because now to her, as she'll always say, like, that's her biggest compliment that she gets is for people to tell her that her kids are good, And so now you look at it like, okay, but if I kept sending back all this money and I'm not growing, over
Yeah.
here, establishing this household with my wife and my kids, and now I'm just struggling. Now we can't ever get out of this damn hole.
Yeah.
It's everybody's now looking at us like, oh, you're just like everybody else, right? Nobody understands what it takes to get out of it,
Oh,
right? They
yeah.
always question at the beginning, what are you doing? Ezra, why are you starting your own company? Like, you're doing too much, or you think you're better than all of us because now you got your own company, your own truck, and your own employees. Like we're struggling over here. Why aren't you helping? Man, you must be a bad son. Nobody sees the shit in the back, that what you're doing, you're building this to be different, right? But now you're being a good um, kid to your parents, though. Now, when they see you and I see your parents, and I don't know your parents, but if I met them, I'd be like, dang, oh, your son is Ezra? Man, that's a good guy,
Mm.
Come on. I mean, if that's not, rewarding to a parent,
Yeah.
I hope, when my kids grow up, people come to me and say, oh, those are your boys? And those are some good kids, man. They work hard, and they do this, this, and this. I don't need my kids' money, I need that. I need them to live a good life,
Yeah.
and that's rewarding to me. That's what I want for my kids. And if they're good, I'm good. That's what my mom always says, right? And so again, I think there's a lot of that. Gosh, it's hard that a lot of those feelings of from other people, of just like, oh, you're a bad person, send money home, or oh, you're a bad person. Like, I'm like, man, you guys don't even get it.
Well, and that's
Uh,
the thing too, is that they don't get it. They can say,
Yeah.
and that's where you got to know your circle, right?
Oh yeah.
Because people are always going to have their opinion. People are always going to think they know. People see a lot of stuff online, the
Yeah.
optics, right? But they don't know what it really takes.
Right.
And as long as you know your heart, you know your intention, you know how hard you're working, that's what you got to stick to. And you know the people who are really in your corner will support you in that. And sometimes it is your own family who
Mm-hmm.
gives you this guilt trip, who tells you all these things, about,
Mm-hmm.
where your money's going, whatever. And it's like, man, you don't even know, and the truth is that if you did know, you know my heart, you know how Devin always says, we never do this for us, we do it for our family.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they really know that, they're going to support you in where you're at right now. They know where you want to be. Okay, it might not be right now, but like, we know it's coming, right? Because we're just going to keep pushing. But something I wanted to ask you that you kind of talked about is, how you feel like it's hard for people in your culture to have those conversations, right? So what motivates you? Like when you're going in to have that conversation, right? Your mom's calling, asking for money, or even just in your business, you have employees, you deal with a lot of hard things, or you're given a bid and you got a number and you're like, shoot, like this is my number, but I know it's right because that's my quality, that's my
Mm-hmm.
work, right? Whatever the conversation is, what what do you think to yourself to help you have that conversation and to kind of just push to really sit down and talk about it?
Man, it took me a long time to get to that point of like having those conversations. Um, because when I don't, it really eats at me. Because just saying no is just like it's so hard because you just sit in your head and just think of all the things how bad you are. The background noise saying, "Oh, he's not helping your mom," but it's like it's another thing where I just get to a point where why it comes back to that why do I do it? Why do I say no? And for me is what made it easier for me to that point where yeah, it's still if first it's still not easy, but it's just I say it with confidence. It's because as long as I know why I'm doing this, and that why is my family, that why is for this business is to grow to provide for my family and for them. But if I continue to do it, do whatever they want, then that why will never build. And so for me, is that is why am I saying no? And for and that's all I need to do is just tell them why. I this is what I'm doing, and in hopes that they can understand why I'm doing it. Because
Right.
everything is like it's the best way you can relate that message to them. But if they don't understand, they don't understand. All you can hope for is that they do. And that's where I had to get to is just getting to that point of like knowing that why and just having the confidence to say it
Yeah.
and not have to worry about the background noise that is going to come after that.
Right.
Because if you worry too much about it, then you're just going to it's going to continue to eat at you and just mess with you. But
Well,
as
and the
long as you stick with it, then
yeah.
yeah.
Well, and the truth is, like, your kids are probably not going to be having that same conversation
Mm-hmm.
because you're having it now. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yep.
Like that cycle or whatever it is that you're going through, it's like you're having the conversation now so that when your kids get to that point, they don't even know what that conversation is because we're not in that same situation, right? We did what we had to do. We had the conversations we had to have. We made the hard decisions. We said no so that this next generation doesn't even know that,
Yeah.
like, and we've talked about that even within our household. There's things that from my childhood, from his childhood, that we're like, we want our family to be so different. Not to say that it was bad. Our
Yeah.
childhoods were
No.
bad,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like we still respect, we still love, but it's like we just want better, right, for our kids. And that's what life is
Yeah.
about though, right? Like you live and grow and learn and I think our parents would say the same. They want their grandkids to have better, but like I love that. Relying on your why, that's everything. That's and the truth is your kids are right there behind you. Your wife is right there behind you. When you go in to have that conversation, it's like they're just like, "Go, dad."
Oh yeah.
Like,
And that's what I told Annie. Anytime I walk into like big meetings,
yeah.
especially with big clients, and as you've worked with us, throughout the years, is that our projects keep getting bigger and bigger, bigger. Because we're growing as a company. But in order to get big, I got to walk into big rooms with big guys.
Mm-hmm.
And so now every time you level up, it's going out of your comfort zone. So I'm walking into rooms that I never walked into before, even though I did it maybe last time. But yeah, this room's now just a little bit bigger, with a little bit bigger guys, and you get those nerves like, damn, like how am I gonna talk to these guys? How am I gonna approach these guys? I'm like, I'm gonna sound stupid. But back to Annie's point, I tell her that anytime I walk into a room like that, I feel that like my kids and my wife is like right next to me, and I walk into that room with them,
Oh yeah.
and they're standing with me, and everybody that I do it for, and they know who they are, my small circle, they standing in there with me in that room, and it's just, it gives me that strength because that's my why, what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying, and as if I keep that, um, thought of, and I just remember why I do what I do,
Mm-hmm.
I have the confidence to, no, I'm gonna, you know, pitch this and, just get it approved or whatever it is that I'm trying to, or just get the job, I'm going to fight for it because of me remembering why I do what I do. That's huge though, but I think, and it's not just a cultural thing too, like it definitely happens,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know,
Every family has
every
their
Oh
family
yeah.
out
problems.
there.
There's family culture within a family that has toxic things or whatever that you got to kind of overcome, or just situations, or even your parents' relationship. It's like there's things that you got to work through. And that's definitely not cultural, just meaning Polynesian culture. That's
Yeah.
just family culture
Oh
and
yeah.
just life. So,
Dang.
yeah. Well, tell us a bit about, you started your company, you've been in it. What have you learned as a business owner that you hope gets kind of passed down to your kids, future generations, whatever it is? Like, what have you learned through your business that you're like, this is my piece of advice, this is what I want you to know? Or,
Um, for me is like, I think right now I'm still in the trenches. I'm still in the early stages of
Yeah.
running this business. I still got a lot to learn. But
us
I've
too.
gone, yeah, exactly.
Always learning.
Oh yeah, and then you know the biggest thing for me right now, what I'm going through is knowing the sacrifices that I'm making for in running a business, and so in knowing that, losing out on time with my kids, my wife, and so a big thing for me right now is really managing my time.
Yeah.
There's time where your business can really take a lot out of you and your time. Where when you go home, you're just giving your leftover to your family,
Yeah.
and your family don't deserve that. And so
That's
it's
big.
just being so aware of managing that time, where it goes in your daily business, and then being home, making sure that you're there 100%, you're present instead of taking your homework, your work to home. And so it's just because I know in the beginning of this business, it's just I know I was so all over the place trying to get work, do the work, and trying to manage the guys that I get so caught up in that I don't even talk to my wife until I get home. And then when I do get home, it's just hey, or I'm too tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's just going through that in the beginning. It's just realizing that it's when I'm at work, put in the work and put the time to where it counts, so that when you go home, you do the same thing.
Yeah.
Don't give your family the leftovers of what your day was. And so,
I love that, bro. That's so true,
Yeah,
huh?
being present where you are,
yeah,
just all in, whether you're at work, whether you're with your family, just all in, be where your feet are,
Oh yeah.
you know? I love that.
I think for me too, that's such a thing. That is, yeah, that was great, bro. I can definitely relate to that, and that's such a good reminder, to because the truth is, when you're starting a business, you're in the trenches, right?
Oh yeah.
N- People don't understand what that means if they've never started a business. Even if they've helped a business start from the beginning, they can get a little feel of it. But to be the owner and to have all the stress that everything is on you, and be in those trenches, it takes a lot of your time, your emotion. It takes a toll on you. And then now you go home, right? Exactly what you said. They don't deserve that, right? They don't, they deserve the best dad, the
Mm-hmm.
best husband, but they're just getting the leftovers, right?
Yeah.
Of something that they didn't cause, of something they didn't do. And we're just like, man, my dad he just wants to come home and he's just drained,
Yeah.
from work. But they're excited to see you, and so that's something that I definitely, have just been mindful of, so that my kids do get the best. And it goes back to your why.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing it for them, right? And then they
Exactly.
don't like you. So it's like, mm, yeah, you're contradicting yourself. Yeah, you're doing it for them, but you're going home and then you're giving them the half-assed dad, and it's like, all right, it's well, we got to figure it out here, and realign this thing.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like something that that's part of being so aware of, yourself and what you're going through, and something that I really, really like focused on is like so often that I think of when I'm at work or out on the job, I think of my about my wife and my kids, and it's like a lot about my mostly of my kids is because they're not gonna stay small
Yeah,
forever, and so like when I'm at work, I think of them, and it's like the time that I'm losing out on with them, not being home or home on time, you know. And so when I think about them and when I get home, like the thought that goes to my mind is like when I get home, I'm gonna give them the biggest hug. I'm gonna be playful for the with them, spend that time, be present because there's many times I've done it, and it's so easy for us to do it. Where it's so we go home and just whatever, hide and just go through the motion. It's easy. That's the easy way out. But then I don't know where I seen it where it's like you're gonna miss it when they grow up. My kids are at the age of 1 and 2, and so it's like hearing that where you're gonna miss them when they're gonna grow up when they grow up, and that always stuck with me where I don't want to miss them. I want to enjoy them now, and then when they grow up, I know I put in everything, time
yeah,
to be present with them and enjoy them while they're young. And so, and that's something where it's like, just be aware of your time and what you're doing, and just make it count while you have it.
right.
Especially for me, is my kids, and then at the same time with my wife, it's just giving her that time as well because she's home all day long with the kids. She
Yeah,
needs her time
yeah.
with me, and then get her time on her own. So, but yeah.
Oh, 100, bro. I think you're exactly right. And I love that. Just to even go back to what you were saying earlier too, of the decisions that you make, the hard conversations you make, the starting your business and doing all this stuff, and to tie that into what Annie said too, of just, you do it now so your kids don't have to do it,
Mm.
and it's just, from where, how am I trying to say this? It's just, you're doing this so that your kids can be better. Everything is to be better. And there's again that stress of what comes with that, trying to just make all these hard decisions, and create this life for them, but at the same time trying not to lose focus of what's important, you know. But all that being said is now that you do, have your business and you got your why, now you're thriving, you're 4 years deep, and what kind of is your next step of Perfect Breeze? Like, where are you trying to take your company? Where do you see it, being in the next 3, 5 years, the short term here?
Well, right now for us, it's like really because in the beginning we're just so focused on doing the work and forgetting the really important stuff on the back end that can really make your business last longer.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
right now the big focus for us is like really focusing on the systems that we can implement into our business
Yeah.
and automating them, especially with AI right now. Utilizing that tool to, systemize our business to where it's running efficiently instead of when I'm gone out of the office, nothing is moving.
Right.
And so, and that's for me a big goal. It's just, yeah, focusing on those things and having my wife be more present and, or, part of the business. Cause
Yeah.
in the beginning, I didn't really have her be part of it
Yeah.
because there was a fear of mine of having my wife in the business.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot where it's like it's not good for um do business with your wife.
Yeah.
It can cause a lot of strain on your marriage, which it can.
Yep.
But me looking at it now is like I see so much in my wife that like strength that she has that I don't have that I know I can really help the business move forward. And so that's something I should have looked at a long time ago is my wife, but instead of I didn't utilize her as much as I didn't look at the strength that she has
Yeah.
and look at what she can really do for the business. And so now looking at it, I'm grateful that I'm looking at my wife and
Right.
knowing that what she can do to really move the business forward is a blessing. And so it's just because there's times where you just get lost in the business,
All
thinking
right.
that you can
Yeah.
do it all yourself,
Yep.
and thinking that your wife will be a problem in it. But
Yeah.
for me, so far, it's like it's only a problem if she doesn't know.
Right.
But if you help her understand what you're going through and what the business is about and what we're set out to do, she's all on board with you, then it helps the goal of where you're trying to get. And
Right.
so, and especially with the skills that she has, I know it'll benefit us in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I think it's definitely the couples in business. It ain't for everybody. It ain't for every couple.
No, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think that's great. If you got a team, if your team just happens to be your wife, and she has that skill set, and you guys work together, even better, right?
Oh, yeah.
You ain't got to go find another employee to do what she's doing. Your wife is right there, right? But again, even that too. Like, so you guys are working together, and so you're trying to implement some systems. You guys got some AI in the work, to help on maybe on the back end stuff.
Yeah.
And are you guys still heavy on the service side, or you're trying to get in the service side, right? And then, but you guys are doing some residential and commercial stuff.
Yeah. So when we started, we were bigger in the new construction stuff, remodel. Um, but the big goal is trying to get into service.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of the big
Yeah.
money is the service side of things. And so we have a service side. We just have one service guy that is doing all of our service, but we're trying to really grow that and focus on our service side of
Yeah.
things and build that side of things. So, but
I don't mean to like put you on the spot or anything, but like, what do you think is like the number one problem, or maybe kind of thing that could um what's the word,
Differentiate.
differentiate you from all these other service based, HVAC guys? What's kind of the one major problem that you see all these homeowners have? And, is that kind of the way how you're attacking this thing to get into the service side? Because you're right, those service based industries are big time, and they're going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger,
yeah.
with how everything is, moving forward with technology and stuff. So in that specific field, kind of what are you trying to target there? What's the number one problem you're seeing and you're trying to fix?
Um, I mean, that's a question that I had to really
Oh yeah,
ask
by no means.
myself.
Again, yeah, that's
Like, I've been really thinking a lot about this question because in order to grow, you gotta separate yourself.
right, right.
And that's a question I really been thinking about, and I still don't know the best answer to that. But
Yeah,
like for now, it's like me personally, it's just doing what I just said. It's like systemizing everything to where the business
100%.
running efficiently, but at the same time, you're a reflection of your business,
Yep.
and that's part of what I'm really trying to you know portray into my business is who I am. My Polynesian background. Who what we're about, and so that's what I'm trying to really use into the business. Bring that into the business is how I operate as a Polynesian, where I come from, and that's something that can really differentiate me from other businesses. And so, but hey, there's a lot of work to do and
Oh,
a lot more to
100%.
that. But
Yeah.
for right now, that's just something that that's been in mind of mine to really move forward from here on
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the truth
Totally.
is authenticity relates. People people like authenticity. You're not trying to be this like huge HVAC, like we can solve all your problems.
Yeah.
It's like you tell someone that they're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like it sounds like you're trying to sell me this used car off the lot.
Oh
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like that kind of like I don't know, just the fakeness of that.
Mm-hmm.
So like what you said, tapping into who you are, like that resonates with people. But also it's finding that and then okay, how do I translate that into my business, And what do my customers really need, right? Like you can be a great guy, but you don't solve my problem,
Mm.
like I like you, but I don't want to do business with you, right? So it's like how can your business differentiate yourself to where you're solving people's problems, HVAC, whatever, that you guys specialize in, but you're also like, and we do it this way because that's our standard and that's who we are, to our core, whether that's part of your Polynesian roots, whatever it is. Like, yeah, I mean, you guys tap into that. I think there's a huge customer base there that will relate to that, right? And then want to hire you and all that. So make that your superpower, man. That's great. I love that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And that's super cool. Again, that's what we do too as our company. We try to help, these smaller, and we're small too, but these other subcontractors that are Polynesian owned, and trying to help and to scale together, you know,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
because again, the bigger projects we get, which means the bigger projects our subs get, right? And so that's kind of something that we've taken pride of ourselves. We try to find these, I don't know, just different ways to help and give back to our people.
Yeah.
Um, and even like the men's group that I'm trying to start up, of just Polynesian entrepreneurs is yes, I think there's a line, of being Polynesian, being heavy on it, and at the same time is like, okay, what else? Instead of making it your whole personality, of just like, yeah, I'm Polynesian. And
Yeah.
again, this is just the hard truth, right? Of yes, I'm Polynesian, but I'm a smart Polynesian.
Yeah. And I have
Okay.
this skill
And
set
I have this
where I
skill
can
set.
contribute
Right.
to a greater society,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, we have brains. All
Yeah.
right. Okay. We got some we can think
Personalities.
of
Yeah.
systems,
Sure.
But when it comes to people pleasing shit, that's just what we do, right?
Oh yeah.
But we're business owners here. Yes, we can have hard conversation. Yes, we can read a balance sheet, P&Ls, all this shit, We could do that too. Okay?
I'm still learning that.
Hey, that's all right, right? And so, but again, that's just where you have now started your business and you're learning all this. You're in the trenches, trying to grow, trying to scale, get into the service side. You're still in the residential and doing commercial too. You're doing those townhomes that you finished up, in Mill Creek, right? Is that where you
Yeah.
guys were at?
Yep.
Cool. And then, you helped us on this project. You've done, a gym for us that we built in Draper. And so it's just been so fun to work with you and to learn from you too. Like we do genuinely learn from all our guys. And you have just been such a good example of how you carry yourself, where you come from, your backstory of Perfect Breeze. Like that's what we want to surround ourselves with. These are the guys that we want to help bring on and build for us, and that we can all come together side by side and do something just crazy, right? And that's why, again, we're just attracted to you. You know, I think who you surround yourself with, like we've all been saying, is very important.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, and in order for us to keep our quality high, our subs, we're only as good as our subcontractors, right? So if our subcontractors that we bring on, and we're just bringing them on because they're cheap and we can make our profits bigger, but they suck, now our reputation goes down. And then now everybody's going to know Seui Construction as, don't hire those guys. Don't go with them because their quality of work isn't good. Now, Seui Construction, physically, we didn't build that. We organized it. We were the GC over it. We facilitated everybody. But the trades that we bring on are the ones that, man, I can't get a hold of this guy. These guys, they do half-ass work or whatever that is. Nobody's looking at the subcontractor. They're looking at the general, right? And saying, you guys suck. You guys need to figure this thing out or you just ain't got business, right? So that's why we're so specific and so hard on, who we bring on. And it's really about the who you are as a person, because to know your why lets me know what you're willing to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a reputation to keep up, right? You started this business for your family, right? To bring this new life to them, right? And so, that being said, you got to make sure you do everything that you can for this business, because in return, it's going to feed you back this new life that you want for your family, these new opportunities. So, again, knowing your why for all the guys that work for us and you too, that lets us know as business owners that we can trust this guy. What is this guy about? His integrity, is he disciplined? Is he willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that he succeeds? Because the truth too is, if you win, we win.
Mm.
If you don't win, we don't win. Because again, if you messed up the project, we mess up because they're looking at us, not you, right? Because you are working alongside us. And so that's where we're really, we don't just say it just to say it. We want our guys to win
Yeah.
because we all win together.
Oh
That's
yeah.
how this industry works. Construction, as a general contractor, literally, that's how it works. We don't just say it to say it. That is it. You win, damn it, we
That's
win.
that's very true. You know, it takes a whole team to do it.
Right.
Anything that you do, that it doesn't take one person. It takes
Oh
a
no.
team to do that, and
Yep.
to be successful at it, it takes a team.
Oh yeah. And that's why we're excited to continue to keep working with you. And like, seriously though, thank you for your time and coming out and just learning more about you, bro. Your why is strong, and I think that's a lot of, comes with from the culture, how we were raised, as family is everything, right? And then now you got your family of your own, and then that family is everything.
Oh
And
yeah.
then now, how do you provide a better life? You became an entrepreneur. You were able to do something that most people wouldn't do, and so to that, what would you give advice, or what's one piece of advice that you would give to someone that is maybe thinking about taking the jump, but they're still scared, or just to get into the entrepreneur or pursue a dream of theirs? They're kind of on that fence right now. What would you say to that person?
Um, just speaking from my own experience is, growing up as a kid that was really shy, didn't really talk, didn't really do much, didn't really think of much, just basically just drifting and doing whatever comes my way. Um, but when it came to a point where I wanted to do this, it was hard, scary. I had to make a decision. For me, is what I would say is, you really, and if you're really wanting to do it, and it's fear is what's keeping you back, and what could potentially, you know, it can provide for you if you do it. It's just, it comes down to, for me, it's just really just taking that step and putting yourself out there, because you really don't know what you don't know. And what you don't know, what is keeping you there, is that fear. But if you just take that step and experience it, and just move forward with it, you'll learn what you didn't know. And you would think back to it, it's like, why didn't I take that step? That step is what gets you started. But you keeping yourself from taking that step is what kept you in that fear and in that anxiety stage. And so it just comes down to that simple decision of just just make that step. Just trust in yourself and trust in the Lord and just move forward. Put yourself out there and experience what you need to experience. It ain't gonna be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect. And the plans that you have doesn't always go to plan. But if you just take the step and experience what you need to experience, that experience will carry you a long way. And just experiencing, just knowing that you took the step and it wasn't as bad as you thought, that alone will keep you moving. Just knowing that you did it, and that if you do it again, take that next step, you learn from it and you continue to learn from that. And so I think that's the biggest thing is just knowing that making that step will actually help you, even though it's hard, but the lesson learned from it will carry you. And so,
Amen. Amen.
God is good.
All the time.
God is
All
good.
the time.
but
God is
yeah,
good.
That's freaking awesome. I love that. I think you're exactly right, man. I thank you so much. And I think there's a lot of people that's, in that position, and that's exactly right. That's great piece of advice, that they can keep going, and that they should take that step. It's scary,
oh yeah,
but take it. And then, like you said, you're like, man, why didn't I do that? Like it wasn't that bad as I thought,
yeah,
Oh, okay.
99% of the time, I feel like that's how it is.
it
It's that
is
fear in your head. Then you do it. It's like the what ifs. Well, what if this? What if this? What if this? What if it actually works out?
exactly.
And guess what? What if it doesn't? But like you said, you still learn something. So the next time you take a step, if anything, you learned taking the step is not the scariest part. But also it's like the fear. I think the fear of never trying is worse than the fear that comes with trying, right? Like the fear of looking back on at the end of your life and being like, dang, I always wanted to open up an HVAC company, but I was just too scared, versus like, dang, I tried, I gave it my all, and it worked out really great. And look at where I'm at now, like imagine if I never did that. Or I tried, it didn't work out, but I learned this. And so it got me to where I am now, right? Like you got to try 1,000 times before it's actually going to
Oh
work,
yeah,
right? Or you got to learn 100 things before it's actually going to work. Like I love that though, because the truth is, I'm the same way. I get so in my head, and I'm like, dang, just got to take the step. And then you do it, you come out on the other end. And like you said too, trust in the Lord. That's the biggest thing with your life plan that you got in your head, because it's probably not going to go that way, right?
oh yeah,
But the Lord knows, right?
The Lord will provide.
And if you trust in that, you know it's going to work out.
very true.
Love
There's
that.
a quote that just popped into my mind, just relating to this. It's like I don't know who said it. I might butcher it, but it's better to go 100% the wrong way than standing still. And is the way I look at that is like, yeah, like I'd rather go 100% the wrong way, but at least I learned something going that way compared to standing still. You ain't doing nothing.
But nothing, learning nothing.
But
Yeah.
like going that wrong way, you can redirect,
Exactly.
regroup, and then go a different direction. But you're going with experience, and so that's it's just something that popped into mind when talking about this, and so
No, that's such. I love that
Awesome.
quote too. Yeah, people don't realize, that it and it's all perspective, right? Yeah, you go 100% the wrong way. People just think it's just the wrong way,
yeah,
but they don't think of what they can benefit from. What did you learn from going the wrong way? Who did you become in the process to go the wrong way? And then not only that, well, now you know what not to do,
oh yeah,
and
exactly.
then you go 100% the right way. You know,
Well, we
It's-
always talk like how many of our like people that we know, friends, family, whatever we talk to, and it's like you talk to them 1 year, then you talk to them the next year, and you talk to them the next year, and they're in the same spot, like haven't tried anything new, haven't, whatever, or they just keep talking about this idea or whatever, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
like, dang, like when are you gonna just go? When are you gonna take action, move forward, move in a direction? Like that's like our biggest fear is being. We always talk about that. Like at the beginning of the year, we're like, okay, what do we want to do this year? At least try, right? Like because that's our biggest fear is staying in the same spot as we were a year ago. And there's so many aspects of life that can correlate to, but like it's so true of just I live by a quote, constant forward motion. Move forward.
Mm.
No matter what it is, just constantly move forward. Whether that's one direction, another, just don't stand still. Because when you stand still, you know the result. That's the only guaranteed result. Nothing will change.
Yep.
If you do nothing about whatever life you want, whatever, if you want to be healthier, if you want, a business, whatever it is, like if you do nothing about it, nothing's going to change. If you at least make a decision, move in a direction, there's an outcome that's unknown, right?
Well, even on top of
Um,
that, exactly that, as people say, like, well, I don't know if it's going to work. That's why I haven't done it. And then you hit them with the, well, I do know what's going to happen if you don't do it.
I know it won't if you don't ever try.
For sure ain't going to
Oh, yeah.
happen. But no,
Um,
thank you for your time. We're going to wrap this thing up. Going beyond the build, we have Ezra Seui right here. Perfect breeze. Does all our HVAC stuff and work, and it's just been a pleasure. Again, we look forward to keep going on these projects with you, and we all grow together, brother.
No, thank you guys. No, I appreciate the relationship that we're now building. I'm glad I reached out. And so,
Yeah.
but nah, dude, I'm so excited. So excited what's to come and future projects that you guys will be working on. And so, but yeah,
We're always in your corner.
That's
Let's go.
let's
Mm.
go.
Thanks, Zeus.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Dang. That was fun.
Oh.
Damn.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. That's crazy.